I think there was a member of parliament somewhere who was talking of candles having been lit and given to the leaders, and then the candles went off. It was in broad daylight. You don't need candles in broad daylight, and no candles were lit. No head of state had candles. And in fact, it would be a security threat if you are lighting fire where there are all those heads of state. So it is a figment of somebody's imagination for their own purpose. And all I can say is that the Pope's event, farewell, was an honorable, dignified process, very orderly. The Catholic Church programmers there had very clearly put order to how you come in. If it was a head of state, it was one head of state plus 4. That means they were not allowing anybody beyond that. And the people ushering in people were either at the level of cardinals or archbishops or bishops. So each delegation would be assigned one of those to usher you to where you sit. And so it was very orderly, and we want to respect the Catholic Church for a very presentable occasion. In fact, it would be unfortunate for Kenyans to try and belittle a process of this nature.
The initial announcement was that Kenya was going to be represented by the head of parliament, the Honorable Speaker Wetangula. Was that information correct, or how did it happen that in the end our head of state was also present there?
The head of state was on a state visit to China, and one of the challenges was to process and finish the engagements of the state visit on time to be able to be in the Vatican. So the precaution was that in the event that the logistics would become a problem, then there was a plan B. Okay, but the president made it out of his engagements there, and I think we are covered in the sense that he represented the country at the funeral service. I want to assure the committee that we do not want to make foreign affairs a dumping ground. We would like to put our best foot forward in these countries as we are represented by Kenyans in various stations. And I just want to assure you that in Italy, the ambassador in Italy and the ambassador responsible for the Vatican, who is based in Paris, these are career diplomats. So the whole issue of somebody giving an impression that they are politicians is false information. They're career diplomats. And I was there physically. And I can tell you a lot of what is being bandied around is just people satisfying their own imagination. There was nothing like that. In fact, Madam Chair, I think there was a member of parliament somewhere who was talking of candles having been lit and given to the leaders, and then the candles went off. It was in broad daylight, and the question of the labor migration issues. This continues to be thorny, to be honest. Even as late as today in the other forum I was in, some of these issues still come to fore. That there's, in some instances, we have unscrupulous agents who mislead Kenyans, who even take away money from Kenyans and leave them high and dry in very difficult circumstances. Both the Ministry of Labor and the Department of Diaspora have been aggressively campaigning on this and also helping people to know the institutions that are credible. We are also working closely with the other law enforcement agencies where sufficient evidence has been gathered on some of these unscrupulous fellows. There's no option but to have them prosecuted so that they can stop endangering the lives of Kenyans. And there are some areas that we need to continuously working together to caution Kenyans that there are some areas that are literally a no-go zone. Without naming countries, but there are regions where human trafficking is rampant. There are regions where people can land into a situation where they literally become slaves there. And in very extreme circumstances, some of them could lose their body parts. So it's a very serious issue. But I can tell you the campaign has got to be wholesome at parliamentary level, at executive level, so that the awareness is brought to bear to the citizens, because sometimes when you tell somebody that don't go there, they tell you that you are frustrating their opportunities. But in reality, maybe you're trying to save them, and it becomes a problem. But we need to know that the biggest thing for us is to have a process where Kenyans become aware of the dangers. As we speak, Madam Chair, there are over 1,000 Kenyans incarcerated in different countries for different offenses. And here in Kenya, we also have non-Kenyans from different countries who are also incarcerated here for different offenses. Some from Europe, some from the continent, some from Asia. So it is an issue that we need to tackle, and this is the right committee to really find a way of bringing awareness to this particular issue, because we could be falling into the trap of people imagining that somebody gets a traffic offense, it becomes the responsibility of the government of Kenya. Somebody gets involved in a brawl in a nightclub in the United States, and they make it look like it's a Kenyan government problem, and vice versa. So we need to find a way of communicating this. And I say so because the demographics we have is that 70% of our people are young, 35 years and below. And these are the people who are likely to be traveling. These are the people who are likely to be looking for opportunities outside. And these are the people who are still vibrant and want to adventure at the same time. Kenya's position with respect to China is that we have adopted a one China policy. And that is the partnership that we've had with China ever since, and therefore we do not recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. We believe in a one China policy, and that's the principle that has been guiding us, not just now, but to the best of my knowledge, each successive government has maintained the one China policy. And it is in our strategic interest that we maintain the one China policy. we believe it's important to always have an official Kenya position on some of these very critical areas, so that we don't send mixed signals on very clear, on very strategic areas. And I know, for instance, there were some people who were pushing to have a delegation from Parliament to go to Taiwan when the President of Kenya is visiting China for a state visit. You see, looking at it, that would have been a provocative action, and it could have cost the country dearly. So there are certain things that we need to be alive to, because they can have serious and devastating implications on the broader welfare of the country.